There's a piece of land sitting somewhere in a Hollywood legend's home. Not a metaphor, an actual acre overlooking a real graveyard. Boot Hill, in Tombstone, Arizona. A friend bought it for him in 1993. He has never let it go, not because of what it's worth, but because of what it means. And because the man who gave it to him is gone now. When the world asked him about that friend recently, he chose honesty over sentiment. What he said might surprise you. Kurt Russell was born in 1951, already inside the industry. His father was a character actor, and by 12, Kurt was leading his own television western. He spent his adolescence as Disney's clean-cut leading boy, safe, marketable, and by his own account, trapped in a box he couldn't stand. He tried minor league baseball until a shoulder injury ended that dream. Then, in 1979, came John Carpenter's Elvis, and Russell disappeared into the role so completely that it silenced every doubter. Carpenter saw something in him, and soon came Escape from New York and The Thing. Snake Plissken became his favorite role, the first one that finally let him be himself on screen. On the set of Silkwood in 1983, Russell met a young Juilliard-trained actor named Val Kilmer. He later said the impression was instant. He recognized something in Kilmer because he had it in himself, a total, almost obsessive seriousness about the craft. Two actors who treated the work like the most important thing in any room. Kilmer had grown up in the San Fernando Valley and became the youngest actor ever admitted to Juilliard. Top Gun made him a star in 1986. His icy, precise Iceman was a revelation. Then came The Doors, True Romance, Heat. But it was Tombstone in 1993 that changed everything. The production was famously difficult. Russell effectively steered much of the film while playing Wyatt Earp. But it was Kilmer's Doc Holliday that became legend. I'm Your Huckleberry, delivered with such offhand menace, entered the language forever. Tombstone is now considered one of the finest westerns ever made. When filming wrapped, the two exchanged gifts, the way casts sometimes do. Russell bought Kilmer a burial plot in the real Boot Hill Cemetery, a fitting joke for a man who'd just spent months playing a dying gunslinger. But Kilmer, without knowing what Russell had planned, had already bought him something of his own, an acre of land overlooking Boot Hill. Doc Holliday was all about death, Russell said. Wyatt's all about life. I guess that pretty much says it all. The years after were complicated. Batman Forever made Kilmer a box office name, but stories of on-set friction followed him, even as his performances stayed extraordinary. Then, in 2014, throat cancer arrived. 2 tracheotomies, chemotherapy, radiation. The voice that had made Iceman and Doc Holliday unforgettable was reduced to a whisper. The 2021 documentary Val laid it all bare. The obsession, the pain, the joy. Narrated in part by his son Jack, because Val himself could barely speak. Tom Cruise fought to bring him back for Top Gun: Maverick. Their brief scene together plays like a goodbye. It was Kilmer's last film role. Not long before Kilmer died, Russell visited him. Val could barely speak above a whisper, but he had something to say. He looked at Russell and told him, "Sometimes I could have been a little bit nicer to a lot of people." Then he laughed. He knew exactly who he'd been, the difficulty and the brilliance both. Val Kilmer died on April 1, 2025, at 65. When Russell was asked about it, he didn't reach for polish. He told the truth about a complicated man and an uncomplicated friendship. Nobody gets out of here alive. If anybody deserves to rest in peace, it would be Val. And somewhere in his home, Kurt Russell still keeps that acre overlooking Boot Hill, given to him by a man who understood that Wyatt Earp gets the longer view. That life, in the end, gets the last word.